So the power just went out in the entire village. As far as I can see, I don't know how big the coverage is. And it's been going on for half an hour now. I'm only lighted by candles, which is kind of romantic and also a bit creepy, but I think it is more exciting and adventurous than creepy. If you're wondering why I'm talking really weird, is because I have my night guard in already. I wanted to go to bed just now and then the power went out. And then I thought, what exciting times to stay up. I really have a lisp with this thing in, so I'm sorry if that is kind of distracting. I gathered all of my candles and lit them. I also don't have any internet because the mobile reception isn't good enough to provide me with any kind of internet connection. I'm completely dependent on Wi-Fi. How are they called? Power outrage? No, it's not an outrage, is it? There's a name for this situation and I can't remember it and I can't look it up because I don't have any internet. And I don't own a dictionary. So I think I am going to take all of my candles into my bedroom and journal a bit and maybe try to read. It's also kind of creepy that you really can't see anything outside because the street lights are out, all of the neighbors, they don't have any power, so they don't have any light, so we don't see anything. It's really black out there. There is a bit of a storm going on, so maybe that is the reason for isn't an outage? Isn't a power outage? Isn't that the name? I think it's a power outage. I will keep you updated on my little power outage adventure that I'm living through with my night guard. I took all of my candles into my bedroom. It is very nice in here, very cozy. But yeah, still no power, no electricity whatsoever. So I think I'm going to journal a bit and write about my medieval experience firsthand. I can also still hear the rain and the storm going on. I have this curtain in front of my bed where the front door of my apartment is. So this is the entrance of my apartment. We closed the front door, put some foam there, and there is this curtain covering it. But apparently it isn't airtight because the curtain is moving sometimes when there's heavy wind going on, and it just moved. I don't think I can get it on camera because it is way too dark in here, but was that lightning? Or was that electricity trying to come back? It's getting more mysterious every minute. I will keep you updated. I'm going to journal now. Still no power. I think I'm just going to sleep now because I'm really tired. It is the next morning and power is back, as you can see. I don't really know when it came back, but somewhere last night. As far as I can tell right now, they are running a generator, so the issue isn't fixed, but we have power from the generator now. And hopefully they will fix the underlying problem today. that was kind of an exciting little adventure into medieval times without electricity and without internet. I'm almost a bit sad that it's over now and I don't have to cook on my fireplace and use my little stove, but that's fine. I'm also very glad and thankful for Wi-Fi and electric light. I hope you enjoyed this little adventure into the wonders of living in a very small village in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah. This morning I went to a charity shop, originally to donate some things. I had some chairs left over, no one wanted to buy, and I finally just thought I would donate them because they were taking up space. And of course, as I was already there, I browsed through it. I'm so happy about the things I found. Let me show you. So the first thing I found were these red tights. These are nothing special, nothing spectacular, but just very standard red tights. And the next thing I got was this little vase. It's just so cute. This doesn't have any markings on the bottom, so I guess it is handmade, which makes it even more special. I love the colors. I don't need it, I'm aware of this, but I love my little trinkets, so I sometimes need to get something like this to make me happy. And now to another highlight. I found a scarf, and I always like to browse through these scarves and bandana kind of sections, and I never find anything good. So I have never seen something as beautiful as this, and it is this scarf type thing. This checkered design in the middle and all of these colors together. I don't know what kind of material this is. It could be silk, it could be polyester. I'm really not sure. There is some branding. It is by the brand Codello, which I researched. It is a kind of good brand. So it really could be silk, but I can't really be sure. I couldn't find this exact model, but this brand only makes scarves. So I could also use this as a headscarf, which would look so cute. I didn't find one, but two red cashmere sweaters. This is the first one. It is this pale red. It's my shade of red. I love this shade of red. I don't really like a true red, like a very flashy, bright, standard kind of red. I only like the toned down versions. I like a soft pale red, I like a rusty red, but it needs to be toned down a bit, so this is just perfection in a sweater. I actually haven't tried it on. Let me do that. It fits. It is very, very soft. It is in great condition. I can't see any holes. It is 100% cashmere. I can't believe I found this. It's just... And it is not the only one. I found another red sweater in a shade of red that I like. It's also cashmere. This is the other sweater. It has a turtleneck. It is also in amazing condition. It is very soft. It is also 100% cashmere. It's perfect. So these are the two shades compared to each other. This leans more into a rosy kind of red. This is more of an orangey, rusty type of pale red. I would both define these as pale reds. So the last thing I found is this green sweater. It is this kind of emerald green. It is 100% merino wool, which is also outstanding quality. I don't think I like this. This is a bit too wide for me. Like it fits, it is my size, but this is just the way that it is designed. No, I don't feel this. These sleeves are a tiny bit short on me. And it is pretty straight cut. I don't think this is for me. So when I walked out of this store, I just threw everything on top of each other and walked out because I planned to just put it in my car without a bag. And then I realized how perfect the color match of all of this is. But just the vase with these two different shades of red, with the sweaters, and then the scarf with this green color, it made so much sense. So these are the things that make my little material heart beat faster. This week is kind of a funny example what living in a tiny village is like. Because at the start of the week we had the power outage and it is fixed now. We're not living off the generator anymore. I think it ran for a day and then they fixed it, but I couldn't get any information on what happened. And the other fun thing that is happening right now is that there is a construction site on the main road. It's going on for months now, but now is the time where they renew all of the top layer of the street. And our village is a dead end. So you have to take this main road to go in and out of the village. So right now we can't leave the village by car because the only road that leads into the village is closed. This is the second time. They closed it down 2 weeks ago, I think. And now it's the final step in the construction where they need to close it down again. It's kind of funny because we can park our cars outside of the village. So right now the sides of the road that leads here is covered in cars. It looks like a festival. Also, there are parts of the village where they can use some gravel roads that go through the woods. I don't have access to that because the way that the street that I live on is connected to the other ones. So I don't have any chance to go to the gravel roads because that sounds like a lot of fun to drive through the woods with your car, which isn't allowed usually, but now it is. There's a fallen tree. It used to be here, and somehow it broke off and landed here. I don't know how that happened, but it's kind of interesting. There's this part of the forest where there's always moss growing on these little spruce trees, and it looks like out of a movie or something. Looks really cool. This is an interesting site because this mushroom in the front is a type of Russula mushroom, and the one in the back is a flies agaric. So these look pretty similar, but they're different species. I wanted to give an update on my knitting project, this cardigan that I'm making, and I finished the first sleeve, which is very exciting, and I also started the second one, and it is going pretty fast, I think. And I finally did decide to match the sleeves to each other, because I think it would just look very weird if I wouldn't do that. And it isn't as annoying as I thought it would be, so I always have to refer to the other sleeve to know what color comes next and how long I am going to knit with the color that I'm knitting. So I think this will take me a few more days until this is finished, and then I can continue to knit down the rest of the cardigan. So this is knit with 2 yarns combined. This one is 100% wool yarn, and this one is the Drops brushed alpaca silk. So I have both of these yarns in different colors, and I just combine them to get these stripes that kind of blend into each other. This is going to be huge. That's the plan. And I'm also adding a pretty broad double knit button band at the end, so it isn't in its final shape, but you can imagine how it's going to look like. But right now it looks ridiculous, but I'm very pleased with how it's turning out and the pace in which I'm going, so this is a very good project right now to work on. I also knit a bit on my scarf, but this is kind of like a side project at this point because I'm really focusing on the cardigan. And I noticed, because this is Angora wool that I thrifted, I wouldn't get something like this new, but I thrifted it, and it is very fuzzy and very soft and nice to touch, but it fluffs into the air, and every time I knit with this my nose gets itchy. So I don't really know if that's kind of a very subtle allergic reaction or if actual little bits of this get into my face and like physically itch my nose, but I'm not sure about it, so I can't really tell if that's an allergic thing or if you even can be allergic to rabbits specifically. And I had rabbits when I was a child, and I didn't have any reaction to them. I don't really know, but I will see where this is going, but this is also still a nice project to work on, and I like it. And I also didn't do a reading update in a while, so I finished reading Sula by Toni Morrison, which was good. I really enjoyed her style of writing and the absurdity that she describes and these weird characters in the book. I don't think it will last a long time in my memory somehow, so I really have to think about it, what happened even now, even though it was like 2 weeks ago that I read this. But it was good. I enjoyed reading it. I also listened to the audiobook of A Room with a View by E.M. Forster, which was very confusing to me at first, but I think after about half of it, I thought it was really good, and I got a bit more of the jokes, because there are jokes in there, and I understood more of the language. For me, there was a bit of a language barrier there, because it is written in this old societal English style, and sometimes I couldn't really grasp the meaning of sentences because they were so over the top and so far removed from the actual meaning of the words that it was a bit tricky for me. But I eased my way into it, and at the end I thought it was very enjoyable. I liked it. So yeah. And then I started reading Fiesta by Ernest Hemingway, and I didn't finish it. I do have an issue when characters aren't introduced, and he doesn't do that. They just appear out of nowhere, and suddenly there's a name and you really don't know who that is and what role they play in the whole story, which was already annoying to me. I liked the scenery of Paris and the characters. They don't really care about what's happening around them. They live this kind of hedonistic lifestyle. They drink a lot. Sometimes there is like this dip of sadness when they try to talk about the war and what happened, but it always lights up after that. So I get what he's trying to do. So after 150 pages, I got a bit bored of that. And then, like, around the half point of the story, it moves to Spain, where they do a fiesta. They just still drink a lot, and then there are kind of graphic descriptions of bullfighting, and I can't deal with cruelty against animals in any kind of media, but I also don't want to read about it, and because I was already annoyed with the book, I stopped. I thought, I don't need to know what's going on, and I read the end, so I know where the story ends, but I just kept out the part of the bullfighting. So I also listened to the audiobook of The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. I have the German translation here, and I like to listen to books that I actually own, so I can like mark the page where I am, and if I want to continue reading instead of listening, I can just do that. So this book is kind of hyped in the internet spheres, and so many people recommend it or talk about it very highly, and I don't think it's a bad book, but I really didn't like the characters. I couldn't resonate with them. I did like the character of the dog. So I don't really have a lot of sympathy for the main character, because he's just sleeping around, hurting his wife while doing it. I don't think there's a lot of depth in this type of story. It is something that we have heard and experienced 1,000 times, and I don't need to listen to the man's side in all of this, I think. So that was kind of annoying to me, that he was given so much space with his thoughts and feelings while he was constantly hurting other people. The language was beautiful. I really enjoyed that. So at the end of the book, there are some pages where Kundera just describes some of his thoughts about humans in general. And there is a very good description of the relationship between humans and animals. And that I really enjoyed. That was really spot on. And yeah, I think he is a great writer. I just didn't like his characters. Maybe that was also the goal, to make them unlikable, but there was too much sleeping around. Like, after half of it, I was annoyed by all of the sex scenes. They were just too many, in my opinion. This isn't a book that will change my life in any way. So I get why people love it so much, but I'm not one of them. But then I read I Who Have Never Known Man by Jacqueline Hartmann. And this will make it into my top 3 books of this year. It was so good. It is such a great story. I really liked it. It is pretty dark, but I like darkness most of the time. So I read this in 3 days, which also says a lot. So I can highly recommend this book. And then I started listening to the audiobook of Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. I wanted to read one novel by each Bronte sister, so this is the last one. So far I read Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre. So this is the 3rd sister that I'm reading a book of. And I just started, so I can't tell you anything, but so far I like the language, and she just met this horrible child that is torturing animals, so I'm not sure if I can get through that, but we'll see. And then I also started reading Lord of the Flies by William Golding, which I also just started, so I also don't have much to say about this. But I do have a feeling that this is just a portrayal of children turning cruel to each other, which isn't something new. So I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy this. I will continue reading it. I don't want to be preoccupied by this thought. And I also do really enjoy the setting of people that are stranded on islands. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And